All right. I love it. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to The Sounding. We aim to provide sexual trauma survivors with a path to healing in order to tell their stories. Before we get started, we always offer our disclaimer that although we are experts in our own lived experiences, we are not therapists, we're not doctors, we're not lawyers. We are just sharing what has and hasn't worked for us in hopes of it helping you along your path of healing, and if you pursue the criminal justice system, that path as well.
Yeah. So today we want to get a little more into the role of the people involved in these cases. So specifically the prosecutors and the defense lawyers. Listen, I grew up watching all kinds of criminal shows and movies and still had no idea really what the role of the prosecutor was until it was deep into a case. Mm-hmm. And, had a lawyer even that came forward and offered to do pro bono work. And it was like, it doesn't make a difference because they don't have any, they have no power in the situation. So once you are identified as a victim in a case, you will be assigned a prosecutor, and that prosecutor, it's not your lawyer, it's really the lawyer for the state or for the county or whatever the case might be. So although they work for you in the sense that we pay taxes, they don't work for you. They're not going to be at your beck and call. I mean, in my situation, there was a time where we had 16 emails in and nothing was getting answered, and so then I took it up the chain to a higher prosecutor until I was heard, because it was obviously very important to me that justice was served. So right now in this country, we are inundated with criminal activity, with sexual trauma survivors. The Me Too movement has given people voice. And so these prosecutors are overworked, they're overburdened, and they are
under-resourced.
No,
totally
absolutely.
Under-resourced.
And unfortunately desensitized. I mean, how can you not be? You're sitting and you're listening to some of the most traumatic information that a person can hear. If they took on everyone on an emotional level, I don't think they would be able to do their job. So it's important to understand that you have the right to be heard and listened to, and although it's not your personal lawyer, they're still there to do the work for you. But you have to understand that they work for the criminal justice system. And then on the flip side, the perpetrator, I hate using that word, it's too light. But
I know, I understand, I feel you too. I'm always like perp. Like, I wish there was the predator, perp, the grapist
word, right? Like, why do we have to be so cautious around that? But that's for another video. So let's just call them that for now. They can use whatever resources they want. I mean, if they want to have a team of lawyers in there, they can have a team of lawyers in there. And those lawyers are at their beck and call. And again, it was wild to me. I understand that you can, choose to be silent. Obviously, that's when you get your Miranda rights. I didn't know, though, that you could choose to stay silent even after charges were processed or get filed. That they can continue to stay silent through the entire trial. They never have to speak. They don't have to speak to a judge. They don't have to speak to anyone other than their own lawyers. And I don't even think they have to do that. So it is, it's hard because you're constantly being questioned as the victim by anybody and everybody, including the defense lawyers, while they get to sit there in silence. And so that part is exhausting, and that's why we want to help to enact some laws, not I think just graving laws, but also laws that give victims a little bit more power in the process, and not feel like they are the ones that did something wrong, because that's ultimately what it starts to feel like. You're defending yourself. You're defending yourself against this horrendous, heinous things that happen to you, while they just get to sit there and watch the entire process go down. Defense lawyers are fascinating as well, because although I understand that criminals deserve to have, somebody defend them.
They have a due process.
They do have a due process.
They have a right to due process.
Some defense lawyers are absolutely ruthless, and they don't care, and they will come after you in a way that is painful.
They come after you in a way that makes you question your existence. And I speak from experience, and maybe not everyone feels that way, but when I had to sit up there twice, 2 different times, 2 different years, and be interrogated and berated and made to look like a person that I'm not by this defense lawyer, it does something to your psyche. And it really had me questioning myself and who I am as a person. And that's why they get paid the big bucks. And I'm just going to say here, the person that I went up against had a family that was able to pay big bucks for a big fancy lawyer. So they pulled out all the stops. We heard multiple times at multiple hearings that they had private investigators hired, right? So I'm, very real and a very surreal experience of living the last 3 years of my life wondering if there's a private investigator following me or stalking my every move or my every action online, right? So the defense lawyers, they, like she said, are ruthless, and they're getting, most likely, especially if they have the money, they're getting paid big bucks to not only get their lawyer, get the perp off, but to extend the case and keep getting paid. And that's my theory. Defense lawyers will pull out all the petitions and all the different things they can do to drag it on so that their paycheck keeps coming in. Let's be real.
Yes.
So, defense lawyer and the prosecutor both have similar jobs, but it can be a very different experience for you as the survivor, and we just want to prepare you for that. Be prepared to advocate for yourself when it comes to your prosecutor, and even be prepared to advocate for yourself when it comes to the defense lawyer. I had to tell the prosecutor I want him to call me Mrs. Gardner, because he kept, did I say that right? Yes. I had to tell my prosecutor to please ask the defense lawyer to call me by Mrs. Gardner and not my first name. He doesn't know me, and I felt very disrespected. But that is the advocacy we need for ourselves in that space, to be taken seriously as survivors.
And laws have changed a lot, so there are certain things that cannot be discussed anymore, like what were you wearing or what your sexual history is. And so in that way, it's a beautiful thing. So I don't want you to go into this feeling like your entire history is going to be pulled up and put out. That's a long time ago. They don't do that anymore. But they might go and investigate your family. They might investigate,
I don't know. I have a very close friend who's a private investigator. That's his job, and he said that they can do whatever they want. They could do that if they want.
Well, maybe that was just because I was in a minor case that they can't bring up that.
I was an adult. So.
They can investigate, absolutely, but they can't bring up certain things. There are
certain laws,
yes. During trial,
yes, but they can. Yes. They can scour your life.
Absolutely.
They can search.
So, listen, we're all human, and we've done things that we're not proud of, but don't think that those things are going to impact whether or not you're going to be taken seriously. So, prosecutor's job is to literally score it like a scorecard, and here are the things, and one of that is going to be taken into consideration is, does your story stay the same? Are you strong enough to stand up in court against this? So those things are part of their scorecard, and then when they decide that it hits a high enough score that they can prosecute and win a case, that's what they're going to do. So it's maddening. It's a maddening process, but the other end of it is so beautiful. And, we advocate for you guys to not be afraid and to learn about the process, so that if this is something you want to do, you are prepared for battle.
Yeah. And you can do it, and we believe you.
Absolutely.
So, comment, subscribe, share. We want to hear from you. We want to build community with you. check out all of our other videos, and thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Did we want to talk about yoga?
Yeah.
We don't want to leave you guys sitting. We always
the criminal justice
sure.
ones are hard because I forget that we're doing the healing, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
So when it comes to, again, this idea of going through the criminal justice system and it taking a toll on you, one of our favorite practices that we both share in common is the practice of yoga. And I could spend a long time talking about it, so I'll try to keep it short, and we'll definitely check out my YouTube. It's Grounded Healing. There's yoga videos there. There's tons of other people on YouTube you can check out with yoga for all sorts of things. But yoga is a practice that includes movement of the body, it includes movement of the breath, and it includes movement of the heart and mind. Okay, so we're moving our bodies, we're breathing with our bodies. Sometimes we're sitting still and meditating. When we're moving and breathing, those are still a meditation. Yoga is a way of life. It's not a practice where you get good at it. It's a practice that you live and breathe and be, and it's personal and it's for you, and it really can become a safe space, and it has for me. I'm a certified yoga teacher. I'm certified in trauma for yoga specifically, and I actually have an 8-week program for survivors that I've ran with survivors, and I teach you how to incorporate mindfulness and yoga and use it as a tool to heal from sexual trauma. So yeah, if you have questions about yoga, hit me up.
I will say that yoga, I think, literally saved my soul through this process, because I knew it was the one place I could go and just let it all go and release, and every time I felt stronger. And so it's really important to know that not only does your mind go through it, but your body goes through this process too. And so it's important to take care of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, because when survivors speak,
the silence ends.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.